I closed the door and I literally, my arm raised it and I felt the lump and I was like, maybe let me just mention it to him. Like, I really feel like it was a divine thing because I was going to wait, and I can't just imagine if I would have waited. I sometimes think about that and I'm like, thank you, God, for whatever it was like, hey, you know, this is what you need to be here for.
Imagine living your life doing what you feel you were destined to do. Having a child and raising your child as well at the same time. Touring, being excited about life, and then discovering that you've been diagnosed with what's considered a terminal dis-ease. Well, my guest today did that. She's still going through chemo, but she beat cancer. And what's amazing about her, what's amazing about you, is you see that beautiful smile? She never stopped smiling in the process. And I'm like, damn, I am so weak. Because here I go complaining about stuff. This stuff doesn't even matter because this is about you. And you are literally fighting for your life. And you're still smiling. And you're still there for your daughter. I mean, there's just so much. So, everybody, this is Cynthia LaCruz, a singer, actor, who was at one time signed to a label in Dominican Republic. She's toured all over New York City, doing her thing. She's phenomenal. She has a new single out right now. What's it called again, sis?
Jicara.
See, I'm Dominican too, but my Spanish is horrible. That's why I'm trying. And she also has an album out as well. You can find it on iTunes or whatever your streaming platform is. But just wanted to get into your story, your strength, your courage, and your like unshakable optimism. You know, like, so give us a little bit about, you know, just your background and how you even got into the show business. And let's like take us on the journey of your life. Like, when did you start singing and acting and whatnot?
So I started singing when I was 9. I was in elementary, and you know how like in the morning you used to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Now those things I think are gone, right? We would do the Pledge of Allegiance, then they would play over the loudspeaker the Star Spangled Banner, and it was the Whitney Houston version. So I would listen to that every day in the morning, and we had to sit there and sing it. But little did I know that was kind of shaping me, you know, like I was learning her rendition of the Star Spangled Banner. But anyway, one day, when that happened, we all had to, whatever we were doing, stop and like salute, you know. So I was in the bathroom and it came on. We had to do the Pledge of Allegiance and the Star Spangled Banner came on, and I was in the hallway and I stopped in the hallway and I was just doing my thing, you know, and I sang along to it. And then I saw the principal behind me and she was like, "What's your name? What class are you in?" And I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm so going to be in trouble. And I remember I went back to the classroom. I was telling my best friend, like, oh my God, Miss Gonzalez stopped me in the hallway and now I'm going to get in trouble, whatever. And then we were in music and music class, and then the teacher said, the music teacher, she's like, "So I heard that Miss Gonzalez heard someone singing in the hallway," and I didn't say anything. I was like, oh my God, no, because I don't want to get in trouble.
Wow.
And then my best friend was like, "It was Cynthia. It was Cynthia." Like, she ratted me out. But she was like, "Oh, so anyway, like they wanted me to sing it for the spring festival, the Star Spangled Banner." So I sang the Star Spangled Banner. And that was like the first, like, I want this feeling always. Like, what is this? Because everybody was so like moved, and you know. So then after that, you know, we joined the chorus. I told the music teacher that my mom writes poetry. She's a poet.
Oh, really? Your mother's a poet?
Yeah, my mom's a poet. That's where I feel I get all my like songwriting and artistry from. She's like an artist, you know. So then we started her music. The music teacher, her poems, the music teacher put it to music, and we had like a whole recital with her. They honored her as a poet, Dominican poet. So it was really cool. And from there, I just, so much, because imagine I'm going to be 39 now. That was like 30 years worth. I'm trying to give you the Clip Notes version.
Yeah.
I guess when I went to like the professional was when I was 18, I was in a girl group called Ambush. and it was like owned by Sony. Well, actually, before that, there was other stuff. Oh my God, we could go on and on.
I love it.
I'm trying to think.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah.
But that's a pivotal moment when I was 9. That was like what really started it.
Wow. So if I'm understanding you correctly, when you were 9 and you were singing the Star Spangled Banner,
Yeah.
did you know you had a gift? Did you like when you were doing it, did you know you could sing?
No, not really. But there was one moment when I was younger, like that. I remember Aladdin had come out and I was singing, like me and my friend used to sing all the Disney songs. And she was like, oh my God, sing it again. Sing it again. Wow, you sound so nice. Oh my God, do it again. And I was like, wow, what is that? You know, like I'm moving something in people. But I didn't know, I couldn't really say like, oh, I was a singer, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of like that time.
And then you said like when you performed, you experienced a feeling that you wanted more of. Tell us more about that feeling. What was that? What are you? And second question, do you still feel that to this day when you perform or whatnot?
I notice it depends on the song and what I'm singing. Like that's why for me, like a lot of people are like, oh, you should be singing the top 40 stuff that's on the radio, but not a lot of it moves me in that way. You know, like it has to be certain lyrics, and I think it's something about unlocking memories that, like, it's like we're suspended when a singer is singing, like you start, at least for me, or the right movie or the right film, you know, it starts unlocking things inside you that you didn't know were there, or kind of puts like words and feelings to something hidden inside of you. You know, all of a sudden you're like crying or you're laughing. Right. You're like, oh, I'm just so joyful that I'm like dancing.
Definitely. I've experienced that for sure.
Yeah, and I love that. Like that's what I want to transmit to people. But for me, I from a place of joy, you know?
Yeah. Beautiful. And what you're saying is actually a true science, because it's you know, I don't have like the data with me or anything like that, but I've definitely read and studied that music has a way of, how do I say, bypassing our consciousness and going to the subconscious. So this is why like certain messages and lyrics can affect a mood. And I remember that, you know, like just when I was in the streets, you know, like I would be dishonest if I said that the music that I was listening to wasn't affecting what I was doing. You know, yes, poverty, you know, and all of that led me to selling drugs. Absolutely. However, you know, having the music to sort of like set the tone and the theme. Like I remember, like, listen, this is like no knocking Prodigy, and I'm not blaming rap music or hip hop for my actions. That's not what I'm doing. But however, I do remember like listening to like Mobb Deep and like getting ready to hit the block, and it was sort of like my theme music. And so, and also too, I think that's why it's also important to have positive conscious messages. And I know you sing a lot about love, which I also appreciate, because not only does it remind me of like the old times, and I'm not an expert in music history or anything, but the older times when they sang about love and music was rich. And I think especially in this day and time where families are, how do I say, I don't want to say in shambles. That would be a bit extreme. But I think I'd rather say it like this. Now more than ever, we need to promote family, especially the nuclear family, togetherness and love, you know, in comparison to a lot of that ratchet stuff that's out there. And so I listened to your album and I appreciate the messages of love. And I'm definitely not the most romantic person. My wife would tell you, you know, I definitely need to step that up. But even like the romance and setting that tone, you know, what inspires you to sing and to write about the things that you sing and write about?
Honestly, like the Caribbean, the tropics.
Tell us a little bit about that too, your background.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry to like have you ask you all.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
My parents are from the Dominican Republic, and I was born here. But during summers, my mom working in schools to make ends meet. Like during the summer, instead of opting to take summertime off, she would still work at the school. So I was off of school. So she would send me to the Dominican Republic for 2 months with my aunt.
Lucky you.
Yeah, I used to get like the culture, but then I would come back to the Heights and there was some culture there too, except it was blended with New York. So I don't know, seeing all that, but that feeling that I would always get when I would land in the Dominican Republic, I'm sure everyone can say it, or even like in Haiti, like the palm trees or, like that.
Yeah.
The way the people are.
El malecón.
Houses are all different colors and then you come here and it's gray,
Right.
So I don't know, I that's always inspired me, and I feel like going forward, because I just started writing, putting on music that I feel identified with, that I love. Because the last album was a songwriter. He's an amazing songwriter. But, it was his vision of music and his words. So I knew I want to capture that somehow. The vibrancy of the Caribbean people and their smiles, their joy, merengue, like all the rhythms, all those like Caribbean rhythms.
How was it growing up in the Heights? I was born in the Heights, but I left when I was very young. So
well, I just I had to leave recently too. I'm now in the Bronx where I was born, but it also has its own. The area I'm in now, I love it too. So, I loved growing up in the Heights. That's what we're talking about. Yeah, I loved the Heights. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's like way expensive now.
Yeah.
And I can't get back in.
Right.
Sadly.
That's a whole another conversation we could get into another time. Yeah.
Exactly. But I loved it. I loved that fusion of, New York, Dominicans, but also you got other things too, like it.
Yeah. So where I'm from on 10th Ave, I'm from a block in Patterson called 10th Ave. And there's like, you could call it like up the hill, and that's like the higher numbers, and like the lower numbers, I'm from 23rd. And so my block was definitely like, what I appreciate is the variety. So you had like Dominicans, obviously, you had quote unquote African Americans, you had Puerto Ricans, you had Trinidadians, Jamaican, Guyanese. So it's just like, and we all like commingled with each other, we all hung out. And so it's just that Peruvian, my man Freedom, he's Peruvian. So just like that that mix, it's just like I feel like it just made life richer, so to speak. Does. Yeah. So when you decide to make that fusion, and I think I remember we were talking on the way here. You mentioned you wanna like that's like your motive, right? Like the fusion.
Yes, fusion? Like music, like because I feel like I always try to like put myself in a box, like. I guess society tends to do that anyway, but then it creates conflict in me,
Yeah.
So I'm like, damn, I want to sing in Spanish, but I also want to sing in English.
Right.
Like, I want to do some jazz, or I'll be doing some merengue, and then there's like some influence of hip hop, or like, and I'm like, why, not do everything together?
Of that.
All we are, that most of us are, like, especially living here in New York, there's so many different, what they call the melting pot.
Right. And it's amazing because, like, it's almost by, like, divinity that you are who you are and you experience what you experience because it's perfect for that. Like, even, like, going to DR in the summers, it's, like, perfect for that, like, authentic fusion opposed to just you being a New Yorker or, like, me being from here, no really ties to DR besides my family who I love that are there. But, like, I wouldn't be able to do that authentically. I would be doing that almost like an outsider. You know what I mean? You spent time there consistently. And then your mom's a poet. So you really, like, I feel like you, if anybody, and then growing up in New York, the Bronx, just being able to really fuse that. Like, you are qualified because of your experience. Wow. Yeah, it's almost like a divine purpose. I don't know if I'm tripping for saying that.
No, I get what you're saying.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's
great. So
perspective that I'm like, wow.
Yeah. And I know with your album, when you were signed, you mentioned that was like the writer's vision. And if you have any questions, feel free to jump in.
Of course.
Yeah. That was the
Mack scared me. He gave me that look like, of course.
Yeah. Mack's like a scientist too. So
yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah, definitely. But so I know you mentioned that was his vision, right? And you performed it. You sang it very well, by the way. What's inspiring you to say, you know what? What's the inspiration behind saying, like, I want to do my own thing? You know, I know you left the label. You're no longer part of the label. So you're officially an independent artist.
Yes.
Okay. And so what's your inspiration and what's the plans for your music?
For my music.
Yeah.
Okay, the first thing you said was what? Why did I leave?
Well, what's your inspiration? Yeah, like what is it your inspiration to now continue on the writing on your own path? Like, what inspires you to write the way you do? I know you mentioned like the fusion between like, you know, growing up, the experiences, but I'm speaking more about the subject matters. Where does that come from?
I guess what we were talking about, that feeling of that I was telling you, it depends on what I sing, and I feel like it can unlock what we were talking about, that feeling to people. And I felt like the songs in the album Borra, they're beautiful, and but a part of it never dug deep in my soul, like that. Maybe it was like not experiencing things, except for one of them, Borra, like is my favorite off that album.
That was a nice
There
song.
was like two, and there's Ay de Ti, which kind of that feeling. And I know I can't always have that feeling, but I want to strive to at least maybe have 8 of the 10 songs have that feeling for me, because then I know that it will transmit to someone else, or someone else might be, you know, like it's coming from an authentic place, and not like I'm singing this because I think it's going to be a number 1 and they told me it's going to be a, you know, like I rather it just tell the story, you know.
You know, I got to tell you, I really appreciate you, because as a listener, to hear someone who's not just talking about selling records, about making money, but you're coming from a place of service, because you're saying, I have this feeling, I have this experience, and I want to share that. Like, man, that's amazing. And, you know, it's not about becoming famous. I mean, maybe you wouldn't mind that too. It's not about the money. I'm sure you wouldn't mind that too. But you're really just striving to share something with the people. And so just as a listener and as a fan of music and as a fan of yours, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I guess when you writing the songs yourself, it can resonate more, because now you're basing it off of your own experience, your own wins and losses and everything. And now that can translate within the music, and then you have so many others that are listening that can share that, you know, versus, you know, the songwriter before, you know, not to them at all. I'm sure they have their own experiences that they relate in the music, but when it's your own words, when it's your own thoughts, I guess that feeling that you're mentioning to tap into, it comes so much easier, because it's flowing literally from
within.
inside.
Yeah, exactly. Like I see the colors, I see the metaphors, I see, you know, it's so much.
I love it. When you were so I know you have a daughter, right? When you were touring, how was it having a child and touring and just and still, because as a lot of us as either entrepreneurs or people who are just like creators in general, at this stage of life, right, we're older, you know, we're not in our 20s, 19s. We find it difficult juggling everything, all the hats that we wear, you know, being parents, working, striving to create, and then the business side of creation. How do you, you know, just juggle all of that? The word that I use, and I got it from watching this documentary of Sylvester Stallone, is juggle, this juggling act, right? So how do you juggle everything?
Well, first of all, when I was I didn't tour like, say, as I would love to, like to other countries, but I do want to put that out there.
You will.
First.
That's right.
Thank you. When I was in the Dominican Republic, Kyrie wasn't even born. After I had Kyrie is the time in my life where I focused more on theater. But it was still hard, like, because the rehearsals are long, like for theater, and it's like, if you're an actor and you know techs are like 12-hour rehearsals to make sure the lighting is in place when you say one word cued, like, you know, it's insane. But thank God that I have an amazing support system, like in her dad and their family.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. And me and her dad, we co-parent, but it's a very healthy relationship, thank God, you know, and like we both understand what we want to do. Like he knows he met me as an actor, and but it does get hard on my daughter Kyrie, you know, like because it's like oh, but you weren't around this time. And, it's like, but thank God, all that to say support system, like I have a really good support system.
Yeah, I want to say salute to her pops, because one of the things that I say is the lack of masculinity, a lack of fathers is impacting us in a very negative way in our homes. So just for me to hear that a man is supporting a woman, his ex, and also being there for his child, I think that's an amazing thing. So my man, salute to you. That's great. That's great. And I'm sure that it's not easy and it has ups and downs. I definitely get it. So tell us about your spirituality and how that taps into everything, and with your, finding out that you were now fighting for your life. Well, take us to the moment when you found out that you were diagnosed with cancer.
Oh my gosh. So it happened last year, 2023. And I had already started like writing music, and I was like, okay, 2023 is the year that I'm going to release music. I was getting ready. Like I started going to the gym. I started sharing, like doing some shows, sharing some of the stuff. And then I remember that day I was on my way. I had just worked. I work as a para, a teacher's assistant for special education. So I had just gone out of work, and I was going to the gym. And I should say before that, I found a lump in my breast, and I felt it. It started getting bigger, and then I was like, it was weird because I had gone in to do my job was stressing me out so much that I knew I needed a physical, and I'm like, oh my God, I need to go. And I kept putting it off. And that's what I was doing. Like for 3 years at my job, I wasn't putting myself first. Like, and I knew this, like somewhere in the back of my mind, I'm like, man, I need to be more, and I could write a book on why I think I got cancer, because I really feel that those 3 years were really
Please share, seriously.
Like,
this is the platform.
I think it was very stress induced, because there's nothing that feeling in my body. Like I remember I had a big blow up at work. Like I literally had to leave the building. And I remember telling the person I was arguing with, like, I am sick. Literally, my body is sick. But I didn't know I was sick. But I just felt something was off.
Wow.
And I kept telling my coworker, like when we would have lunch, like, man, something's off. I was telling her for months, and I had that lump and I knew about it, but I didn't relate it to that, because I always had like fibrous breast. They're very dense. So I'm like, it's one of those things, but this one was getting like hard. Like it felt like a golf ball. And then my boyfriend was like, no, it definitely feels like it's growing. We need to check that out. So I remember I went to go get a physical, and then he wasn't my doctor. I was going to wait to see the gynecologist, because he's the one, they're the ones that check your breast. And then, he did my annual physical. And then as I was leaving, I closed the door and my arm raised it and I felt the lump, and I was like, maybe let me just mention it to him. Like, I really feel like it was a divine thing, because I was going to wait, and I can't just imagine if I would have waited. Like, I sometimes think about that, and I'm like, thank you, God, for whatever was like, hey, this is what you need to be here for. So I told him, and then he had a female nurse come in. He did a check, and he was like, yeah, I'm going to send you for a mammogram. And then, I went in for the mammogram, and, they did they still couldn't see in my breast. Like, they definitely saw the lump, but because my breasts were so fibrous, they also did an ultrasound. And then the next week, they were like, we're going to, I can't even remember. From this point on, my life is so like, I can't even remember how being in so many appointments, so many getting like punctured every week, and like you're like a guinea pig, it's just like they did a biopsy, which is where they take a part of the tumor and put it under a microscope to see if it's cancerous, but they also see the makeup of it, of what it's composed of. So like I don't know, should I just go into the it can get so scientific.
Well,
so
whatever makes you comfortable.
So
are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I might like
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
This is probably like the fourth time I'm like recollecting. And even for me, like, I'm like, wow, I'm backtracking on all this. But yeah, basically I was on my way to the gym, going back to the story, and the doctor called, and I already knew that call, but I felt like I already knew it was that I had, that it was going to be malignant, So yeah, and he called me, and he's like, I remember him talking, and you don't hear anything else. He's like giving me instructions, and I'm just there. Like, I remember I was on Varick and Canal. Every time I pass that corner, I think about that day.
Like trigger.
Yeah, like when he told me. And then the first person I called was my boyfriend, because he already knew what was going on. He's been going with me to the appointments from like day one, like so he's kind of been there from the beginning to the. Yeah, it's I'm so blessed, and I hope he's blessed later with the way he's helped me.
Shout out to him.
Yeah, but and then I called my sister, and I did not tell my mom because I knew it would destroy her. So we actually waited to tell her.
Wow. How long did you wait before you told her?
Probably like a month, 'cause she was in DR.
Oh, okay.
And she was going through her own health issues as well. Wow. Yeah, they found some like blood clots in her lungs. That's how we started. We actually thought like, man, this is gonna be the year where we're gonna be in hospitals with my mom, and then it totally flipped.
Wow.
And yeah.
Wow. And so okay.
Was that too much? Because I know it's just so scientific when you get to start talking about the cancer, but I'm like, okay, how do I paraphrase?
No, there is no such thing as too much. Okay. Seriously, there's no, feel as much as what makes you comfortable, give as much as you want. Wow. And so in this moment, when you realize what's happening, what are your thoughts? What are you feeling? Because you seem like you're very intuitive with your emotional and self, and also your feelings. So what are you? And also too, you're super. I know you as someone who's optimistic, very positive and strong, always smiling. Even when I told my daughter I was like that you were coming by, she remembered you because of your smile. So was this a moment where like what were your thoughts? What was your experience like? Were you like, okay, I'm about to kill it, no worries, or like, was it concern? What was it? And forgive me if this question sounds silly.
No, it's okay. It's so funny. Like, I feel like I called it sometimes because I was so like in my job, I was so stressed that I was like, and this is where be careful what you put out to the universe. Like, I remember being like, God, like, please send me something that gets me out of this job, like gets me out of this rat race, like just like slow me down. I remember that was my thing, like slow me down. Like I just want to be slowed down. And a part of me, like when the doctor diagnosed me, till this day, I'm like, oh my God, what did I? But I was just like a relief. Like I was like, thank God, like I get something to just let go and get out of that fucking like rat race like that, working hustle, like I know it's kind of, but like, of course I'm like, God, I mean, not like that, but
right.
Wow. But I guess, what was the question?
No. So, what was your mindset like at the time when you find out? Was it like concern? Was it like, optimism? Like, where was your headspace or your emotional self?
At first, I was like, I was devastated, but of course, but I knew that this was going to be a long process, especially after I heard, the treatment plan, that it would be a whole year and what I had to go through. I was like, all right, I can't spend every day of my life just down, So I remember my coworker, she gave me like a box, before I started chemo, and the card had, it's a little girl hugging a big giant elephant. And I think she gave it to me for me like friendship, but I saw it like me hugging this lump, like, hey, what are you here to teach me? Like, what if I befriend this situation instead of like, that thing. And also, apparently I was already when I was down, I was already like, from what people tell me, like, wow, like you're already like, you taking it so positive. You're so like, you know, like even going to and I really didn't realize it. But
So your down is like other people's high still.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I was like, wow, really? Like, and then, you know, when people share like you share stuff and I'm like, wow, I never looked at it like that. For me, I was really just trying to make it out, you know, like, I don't know. So it's crazy. Also, the people that surrounded me, you know, like my boyfriend is very spiritual and uplifting, and he's kind of good at like, hey, change this wording, or, I mean, it hasn't happened yet, so just don't, you know, like that. So together with that, I think it was, but yeah, I guess I'm going off tangent, but.
No, your answer, tell us a little bit about, no, don't tell us a little bit, tell a lot of it, about spirituality. You know, you mentioned your boyfriend's spirituality, and you mentioned some as well earlier. How did that play a role in everything for you?
He played.
And tell us about your spirituality in general.
I will, because my spirituality, I love spirituality. Like, I love reading about religions. It's always been my thing. I you know, so long story short, going back to this fusion thing of being a lot of things, I grew up Catholic.
So did I.
Yeah. But after I discovered, like, without going off tangent, anyway, after I discovered like Erykah Badu and all this,
oh yeah, no doubt,
I got into, you know, me, the Africa inside of me, that I am African, you know. And
not to cut you off, please don't lose your thought. No. Again, remember I mentioned the power of music.
Yes.
Earlier, right? Yeah. And you see who you referenced a musician, an artist. So yeah, you know what I'm saying. But go ahead. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I remember I was at the Apollo performing with this girl group I was with. Erykah Badu was there, and she was doing, what's the name with? They got the block, go knock the block, stay high.
Yeah.
And I don't know, they went into this like break with drums, and like, I was just like, wow, what is that? Like, it just moved something in me, you know? But not only with her music, like any kind of like very Afro-based, I was like, what is that? And I'm like, I feel like that's somewhere in me, you know? And long story short, then I found out, you know, about Palo music and Gaga, Haitian Gaga, how it's in Dominican Republic. I found a community of people who practice that music. Dope. And I was like, oh my God, you know, like, this is it. Like, this is that feeling. I know it's like ancestors speaking. So then I got into African spirituality, like La Ventula División, Voodoo. Like, I started learning about that. So I wanted to be in that, and I kind of pushed away Catholicism because, you know, they say about people who came to the island and it was forced on us. So I've always pushed it away. But then I became a yoga instructor, and I'm got really into Hinduism. I'm giving you like super.
I love it though. No, please.
Then I found some, but anyway, all of this, that as I started picking up all these things, they all linked. You know, I found the links.
Yes. I think to add on to what you're saying, don't lose your thought. For those of us who are not in a box, and there's no disrespect to anyone who chooses to be in a box, meaning claiming something, we can observe and appreciate all the connections. Like we see while they, and I hope I don't sound super judgmental or anything like that, but while they're fighting or judging other people for not being what they are, I think people like us can view from outside and be like, yo, y'all all living mad similar, and it's all like connected, right?
It is, yeah.
But so you found some things you appreciate about Hinduism when you were practicing yoga? Yes,
yeah. But it also, so all of that was beautiful, but it also created a lot of conflict in me. Like, I'm like, I want to say he when I'm praying, but then I know it could also be a she, and so a lot, and I'm still kind of there, you know. But for some reason, though, like, I really got into more Christianism this year. Like, it was even before the diagnosis. I was already, so what am I trying to say? So I got into Christianism, I feel like after 2020, I started listening to a lot of, on Sundays, like online church sermons. And I started reading the Bible. And again, I know it can link back to Kemet. But I was like, man, it felt simple and like simplified.
You got to a point where you appreciate it now.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So the Bible has been helping me a lot lately. You know, and those sermons like on Sundays that I listen to, but I still, try to meditate, and it's still, a little bit of each, but it's a very big struggle still to this day. But I do thank like God, because he's has been at the center. And even before the diagnosis, I remember starting the year and saying, this year I'm not going to make resolutions, nothing. I'm just giving it to God. Lead me, take me where I need to go for my purpose,
Wow.
And then I get the cancer, and so I don't know what's going on, but I'm just trusting, taking it one day at a time, living God's will. And
so one thing that, in keeping up with just the spirituality aspect of it, when challenges come, they either bring us closer to our Creator or push us away, right? Depending on the perspective that you have, because you could have looked at it as, why me? How I'm this, I'm that. I shouldn't do that. Right. Or it could be like, okay, maybe I need to look deeper into something to hold on to and to help me get through. So which side were you on? And it's not non-judgmental on whichever side, because it's how you cope. But how do you think?
I was definitely on the side of like, I was like, I told you, I'm like, God, what is this trying to teach me? Where am I going with this? So I definitely, I don't feel mad at him at all.
Yes.
I'm trusting. I've even thought like, hey, if I pass away, like, I don't feel like I'll ever be mad at, the divine, kind of like, oh, why did I, I don't know, like I'm feeling something and I can't put into words. I'm still kind of living it. There's something there, whatever, that I'm just trusting that whatever is going to happen,
that's beautiful.
That brings peace, doesn't it? That brings peace in a world that can be so chaotic, right? I guess that's the peace right there, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I feel really weird peace. Like,
that's beautiful.
Wow. What like would you say it is teaching you, or it has taught you?
Definitely to slow down. I'm like, it's okay. Like, we're not. I'm a person. I want to kind of control everything, and I think a lot of us, right? Like, we're like to that. I'm not in control. Like, that's it. Like just be in the moment. I don't know. Like, I planned so much, and then it's like I remember, like 2 weeks before I was diagnosed, I was like, I was looking through my. Because, when you look through your pictures on iPhone, it's like, wow, 4 months ago I was doing this. And like the week before there was a picture, and I'm like, I went to my friend's wedding. It was like the last time I got really dressed up, and I had like red lips and this gold dress, and my boobs were like, I'm sorry if this makes you...
Nah, it's all good.
But it's part of breast cancer, whatever. And I'm like, wow, like, and then like literally 4 months after, I have this picture where I lost, like, I went down to like 111 pounds from 126. My breasts are gone. I was like bald, and I look so sick. And I'm like, wow, see, that's why you can't say, oh, I'm going to save this dress for this occasion. Wow. And they say like,
I do that. Obviously not a dress, but like, but like an outfit or a shirt or something.
Yeah, I literally have a shirt right now sitting in my closet that I always pictured it for this single that I have coming out. I'm like, when I shoot the video for that, and I've literally had it for like 4 years, I'm like, I need it to be for that video. And now the shirt doesn't even fit me because my breasts are smaller. Wow. Yeah. Because of cancer. So it's like, I think me trying to control, thinking that I'm playing at God and like having that.
That's so profound. And I resonate with that. Like, because like I said, I do that. I'm embarrassed to say there's things that I don't post because I'm like waiting for like a moment.
Me too.
You know what I mean?
Like, I do that.
Like, and then what? You know what has happened? And then like the moment, whatever the moment is, doesn't come, and then I won't post it because I'm like, it's too old to post.
Yes, that's me. Oh my God, that's so me.
So yeah. Is it? And I don't know the answer. We're having a conversation. Is it a scarcity mentality? Well, I mean, because the thing is like
me that.
Let's just go with your dress. You're our guest, so let's focus on your dress. Oh, no, it wasn't a dress. It was a shirt.
A shirt.
Pardon. it's a special shirt, and you're like, yo, it's fly. I'm gonna wear it for a video. To me, that sounds logical. It makes sense. So, not that there's anything wrong with that, but like you said about the presence, what do we do with that? Like, I don't know. Like, does it? And I remember reading something about someone who saved the dress, and I don't know if the story is true, but anyway, there was a woman who saved the dress that she wanted to wear for a special occasion, and she never wore it, and then she passed away, and then her family members found the dress. I don't know if it's true or not, but the message behind it is strong, right? Yeah. And it's very, like, it relates to what we're talking about. I don't know. What is that? I mean, should we just wear the shirt? Because it makes sense, like, yo, let me wear it for the video? Or is it that we need to make the video faster?
Right. I honestly feel like I didn't, because it wasn't only about the shirt. It was also about, no, because I want this particular sound with this producer, but I don't have the money to pay it right now, so I'm going to wait. It was like a lot of things, also that thing to try to get stuff perfect. So I think it's also, hey, you can, if the universe is putting this producer in your path, I'm just using myself and this
Please.
producer in your path right now, work with that. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Like, because what if, it's what they say, what if God has a bigger plan for you? And because you're focusing on the song with that producer, and maybe that's not the song that will give you the results you want. He's putting something else there. And it's like, I don't know, am I going off tangent? But
no, you're not. No, this is like, the thing.
It's just that control, like it needs to sound like this. And in doing that, I postponed it to like 4 years. The shirt was sitting in my closet.
Wow.
Because I never recorded the song, because I never had the perfect producer, because I wasn't in DR to record the video, and I wanted to wait for the chance to go to DR. It's like, keep going and going instead of just making.
But then, right? I'm with you, right? I'm with you. Right now I'm reading Steve Jobs' book. Steve Jobs was super controlling, super like about details, and like he'll be like, yo, that's not the right tone of a color. And it doesn't matter if it was expensive or what he wants, like what he wants. So then but then somebody like him who's super picky. I think what it is though, he got the job done though. So like, no offense to you and myself, right? Because I'm putting myself in your shoes because I can relate. Maybe what it is that we're like, he also had a time. Like, yo, that ain't the right one. We need this now. 3 months. We're gonna get this done. Okay. So maybe for you and I, and I don't know if you can relate, Mac, it's putting some type of timestamp on it. So it was like, all right, I can't afford that producer now, right? But I'm going to DR next year, and I'm going to create a plan so I can wear that shirt by next year. I don't know. It's still future-based.
Yeah.
But maybe that's what was lacking. Like, did you? And again, I'm not trying to like say you did anything wrong. Right. Like, did you have like? I'm like, really? So while you were saying, okay, I wanted to be in DR and I wanted this specific producer, but did you have a plan?
No, I did not have a plan.
Okay. And then 4 years came. And
I think flew by. More than that. Like, yeah.
So
I always knew I wanted to. I had the song written and everything, but it wasn't recorded.
Right.
And then I did start working on the song, and it took us, because it's me and another composer. Shout out to Alex Marcelo. Pianist, Panamanian and Dominican.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. My siblings are Panamanian Dominican.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, on my father's side.
Oh. I wonder if maybe.
Talk about that later.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah. We were working on it, and it took us like 9 years to complete it too. Wow. And I think we both were like, no, not yet, this, that, and family got it. Like we both are musicians with family. So it was like, that leaving room for that.
Yeah. And then you have some people like, I have a friend I'm thinking of right now. He'll wear this flyest thing to like the store, to Kohl's, to return an Amazon thing. You know what? I think for me, I can't speak for you. For me, it is a scarcity mindset, because I don't want to wear the flyest shirt, because then I'm going to be like, well, then I'm not going to have something to wear. Like, so I want to hold on to it. And I don't know if it's just growing up poor, and just not having much really, I ended up, selling drugs and a whole bunch of things. Right. But maybe still, even though I'm a successful man now and I'm no longer in poverty, but maybe there's some still like scarcity mentality. There's like, I only have like a little bit of stuff. Right. You're like legit, like, what I mean? I grew up like not having a lot of stuff, but
I wonder if it could be scarcity mentality, but not in a little bit of stuff, but not enough moments. Like if it's something that's so big, you want to save it for that, but then you're not having enough of those bigger moments, right? So maybe that could be it, right?
Boom. Yo, that was fire.
Scarcity of moments.
Scarcity of moments.
But then that makes sense, right? Because it's like the scarcity of moment, because we're so caught up in the working. And, you know, it's like
you have a special occasion and you want it for that. Exactly.
And I want more special occasions. I want more moments to,
So then what about, like, for example, you know, our engineer, he's a reggaeton artist. And so I was like, yo, what's up? I asked him, we gonna do any content today or whatever? He was like, nah, I didn't bring my outfit. You know what I mean? So it's like, he like, I didn't bring a change of clothes. I was like, all right, I get it, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, man, do we create the moments without the clothes? Or, I mean, obviously dressed, but.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, because even, like, now that you mentioned that, like, I feel him. Because it's like, the first thing when I go, like, to auditions or people that I'm about to work with, they're like, all right, you need to build your online presence. Like, your follower count needs to come up. You need to post more. But I'm like, oh, it's so exhausting to post. And I like reposting things, but I think for me personally, I connect more when it's their own content, their day-to-day, their mind, their speaking, you know?
Yeah.
So then when you're trying to do that, but if I'm like, oh my God, like right now, my eyebrows are thin. I'm like, I don't have them filled in. I'm not going to get on camera and talk. Oh my God, I don't have this, So I get it. But then it's like, I think it's just letting go of that and us to just be, Like,
and, I'm glad you brought that up, right? As we start to wrap things up, land the plane, as I like to say. I think it's so powerful. And man, like, you don't even know, like, behind the scenes, you inspire me so much, because to see your new single was just dropped. What was the name of the new single?
Hikara.
And it's, check it out on YouTube and everything. Before we wrap it up, let people know how to find it. As a matter of fact, let them know right now, what can they listen to and find Hikara?
It's on all streaming platforms. It's on YouTube. There's a lyric video and there's also a video, which I shot right after I finished chemo, because that mentality, I was like, I'm not going to wait till I have my hair back and all this stuff, or I'm done with treatment, because what if that never comes, So I'm like, I recorded the video like probably 2 weeks right after my last chemo.
Wow.
And I remember like being tired and weak, and I had like a whole bruising here and yeah, it was just that. I was like, I'm going to get it done, because I said I'm not going to let anything else get in the way of, if I'm able and living and here and I can do it, I'm going to do it.
And the reason why it was so inspiring me, besides the fact you're creating, and our salute and respect to all creators, you did it, bald. I don't know if that's proper to say. Bald without hair?
I think so,
okay,
right?
okay. You did it bald because of chemo. And, like, so many people would have been like, oh, I'm going to wait till I get my weight back, my hair, like everything you just said. I was like, wow, for me to think about all the things that I allow to stop me, or all the self-doubt that I experience, to see you, and especially like you're a woman, and like hair and, breast and all of that is so tied, so to speak, to
for Dominicans, like,
right. I mean, you could say it more than me. You're a woman, so
Latin women too is
right. All of that, and to see you still out here living, looking amazing, and still not afraid to come out as a woman as you are right now. I think that alone is an inspiration, like on a whole nother level. You know what I mean? Like, you're not stopping, you're not hiding. Like, you're still doing your thing. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's so inspiring. And to me, and I'm a man, which I cannot relate to any of that. Well, in a way, as far as the self-doubt and everything. But I can't even imagine, like, the women who may have had, like, hair issues for whatever reason, or maybe, like, their breasts are small. Like, I have daughters, and I remember, like, having conversations with one of my daughters who was trying to gain weight, get thick. You know what I mean? I'm like, wow, you're beautiful as you are. Right. But I get it, because mainstream, especially in our community, like, has this ideal version of what beauty is and whatnot. And you're defying all of that. Like, that's just so amazing. Like, how are you doing that?
Well, first of all, like, I was very inspired. Like, I kept it under quiet. Like I was like, am I going to share it? Let me just, well, part of me wanted to process it. Like when I was going through chemo, I didn't post, I didn't tell anybody, only my family knew, close. And then as I progressed in my journey and my body started changing, I was like, man, how does that look like for a singer? What is my life going to be like as a singer with cancer or post-cancer, you know?
Yeah.
So I was looking for a long time. And anyway, shout out to this singer. Her name is Bianca Munoz. And she is a 3-time cancer survivor. And she put out a video. All that to say that then I found this community of cancer survivors, even close to me, that showed me and encouraged me that I saw that there could be still a life after cancer, you know, and during cancer and during treatment. You could still keep going, you know. So that really inspired me to put out music and still do it.
Wow. And how are you living life as a cancer survivor? And you beat it up. You didn't just survive. You beat cancer up. That's what we're affirming, you know. How is your perspective about life different now?
Oh, my gosh. It's definitely slower. Although I still, right now I'm going through like a depatternization. I don't know if that makes sense. And deconditioning my mind for because I know my way of life probably wasn't the healthiest. And when I say that, I don't only mean like food and physical, but my sympathetic system. Like I always kept it in fight or flight, starting with my job. My job is a very big fight or flight. Like I was always in fight or flight. And then I felt like that started leaking into even running for the bus and the train. Like I would tell myself like, oh my God, I'm going to be late. And my mind was always at work and not walking down the street, enjoying the train passing by. Instead, I'm like, I'm going to try to outrun that train because I need to get on that train because I need to be on time. So giving myself time, you know, to savor the little moments, you know, and actually enjoy that breakfast, not like golf it down while I'm like running to the train. I mean, it's still there. Like I'm trying, I catch myself and I'm like, all right, I need to undo that pattern.
Wow.
And the people around me are also noticing and they're starting to like, hey, you said you would change this. You're going to, you know. But it's been hard to break those patterns.
Wow. And does life look differently? Not just the experience, but do you find like a new appreciation for things?
I do.
Yeah, like what? And tell us about that.
Wow, like the mundane.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, like just really I realized I was never there in the mundane moments, like just brushing your teeth in the morning, like really trying to. And it's funny because teaching yoga, that's like one of the principles of it, you know, being in the moment, enjoying that. And it's something I would say, but I forgot it so quickly. Like,
yeah, we all do. We get caught up in, you know, it's like tools, but you got to use them. Yeah, I find that even, and this is no comparison to you, but I find like when I have an injury from like, let's say exercising, that number one, I notice when I have an injury of how much I use like something. Like for example, I Muay Thai is like my main system. And when I don't know if I fractured a rib or bruised it because I never went to the hospital, but I definitely did something. I realized like all of a sudden you become present of how much you use your ribs. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, snap. Like, you know, like, anyway, I won't get into that. And then when I heal, it's like, oh, man, I can laugh. Because, like, when you hurt your ribs, laughing hurts.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Like when I had my mastectomy, like laughing, coughing, I was like, oh, my
God. Right.
Yeah.
So then when you can do it, you're like, oh, man, like, it's simple. Just laughing.
Appreciate it more.
Yes.
You know, without pain.
Yes. What message do you have for two populations, for lack of a better word? Number one, three. Other cancer survivors. Let's start with them. What message, I want you to look at your camera, and what message do you have for them?
For other cancer survivors.
Yes. So or cancer survivors and people with cancer who are in the trenches, because you beat it, but people in the trenches now, what message do you have for them?
Wow.
Those who are in the trenches and those that survive.
It's so funny because I still feel very much in the trenches. I know we're affirming. Oh my gosh, I don't know.
Take your time. Take your time, please. Seriously, take your time, ma. No rush.
And it could be something that you need to hear yourself, speaking to yourself, but speaking aloud. Because sometimes we speak to others, but at the same time, we're speaking to ourselves and reminding ourselves. So if that's what your heart tells you to do, please.
I would say whatever it is you want to do, even after you have been diagnosed with cancer, even if you're in treatment, whatever it is that deep in your heart you've always wanted to do and for some reason cancer stopped it, find a way to just do it. Just, get creative. And maybe that way of, let's say if you're bedridden and you're like, man, I never got to perform with a symphony, or find creative ways to do it. And I feel in my heart to say this, I don't know, that it'll be therapy, that it will probably be the best medicine that you would need for that time. And I think it will take away from focusing so much on sitting at home or with cancer, just whatever that may be. I'm just talking about music because that's what resonates with me, but just do it anyway. Like they say, do it scared, do it, with an IV in your vein, find a way to do it. Maybe there's a whole redirecting that needs to happen, but maybe it'll make it, what if it's better than what you expected if you weren't like with cancer or sick?
Now, the other population I want you to speak to, women. Women who experience self-doubt, just like, especially like we live in a society where there's a standard of beauty. What message would you have for them, for women, Yeah, just in terms of accepting themselves or, just whatever insecurities they may have.
Yeah. I don't know. I know this is, and some people say like, oh, that can be wrong, but I just like to think of how it could be worse or on the other side. I don't know if that, wow, this is tough, but that's what's coming to me right now.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. If that's what it is, that's what it is.
Like you have hair, some person
Wow.
might not have hair, like.
Wow.
So just, I don't know, that's where gratitude and being grateful. And again, I think it's a matter of us, it goes back to that, like being okay with not being in control. Like, this is what I got. Maybe that's the challenge in your life, to just be accepting and making it work. How can I make I didn't, like, some people are like, oh my God, when I had curly hair, I wish I had curly hair, but you have straight hair. And well, maybe there's a way you can get it curly, but, just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're trying to say, but I hope that's like.
No, definitely. And what I don't know if this can add on that. I'm a man, so, that, it's not about finding a man. First and foremost, you have to validate yourself, not seek external validation from a man. However, I think most of us do things to get attracted, right?
Yes.
By the opposite gender. And so that you'll find a man that appreciates you the way you are. And if we're talking about just the physical, a purposeful man, and I say that as a purposeful man, I like beauty, definitely. And also that there's a man that will appreciate you as you are. Like, I know women who have that curly hair natural, right? I mean, now it's like a fad and a style, but I come from the era where it wasn't. And I've always loved natural curly hair. And I remember, like, I had an ex that literally called me crying in tears when she went natural. And she was like, I don't want to go to work. Oh my God, they're going to laugh at me. And this is a professional. And I'm choosing not to say we're professional or nothing because I don't want, just for privacy reasons. Mm-hmm. And I had to literally, I'm on the phone with her like, yo, you're good. You're beautiful. Don't worry about it. You know what you're doing. All of this stuff, right? And so just want to say to the women out there that, that a man will appreciate you as you are, within reason, of course, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I personally love natural curly hair. And then you have some people who have natural curly hair that want straight hair because they think that men don't like it.
Yeah.
So I'm just giving an example. So I just wanted to share that from a man, if that contributes anything.
Yeah, because I feel like that is, I don't know. Yeah, very one of the key, like one of the factors to.
Definitely.
Yeah,
so the third population.
Oh my God.
Yeah, definitely.
I knew he wasn't gonna let me off.
Yeah, no. I remember. That's two. And I still have a few more questions, and then we'll wrap it up. You literally face death, like literally face death, and you won, right? So for people who are depressed for whatever reason, and I have my gripe because I just feel like a lot of people, they say they're depressed and they're like not really depressed. They just need to like go do something. However, I know that there's clinically depressed people because of not genetic. I was about to say hormonal, chemical. Yeah. Thank you. Chemical issues. Not them, obviously. But as someone who faced death, what's your message to all of us?
Oh my God, this is so much pressure. Jesus Christ. It's so funny because I was telling you, I still feel like I still feel a little uncomfortable, like saying, I beat it, I defeated, but I also want to be conscious of my wording and affirm that.
Ashe.
But as someone who is kind of still in treatment and going through it, I don't think I have an answer right now.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you for your, for being authentic and honest and not just saying some BS just to answer the question.
Yeah.
Thank you. So as we land the plane, do you have a favorite book? And if so, what book is that?
A favorite book. I love The Way of the Peaceful Warrior. I know it was like a movie too, but the movie definitely didn't do it justice. But I love that book. I love Siddhartha, which is like the story of Buddha. Yeah. What other book? I love The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. Yeah. I have so many.
Yeah. But tell us, since you mentioned The Peaceful Warrior, what is it about that book that stands out for you? Like, what did it do for you?
It's that lesson that I'm telling you about the mundane, like appreciating, like, what if this is it for you? Like, and being content with your present moment. Like, what if, and I say in my case, what if I'm aspiring to be like this, like, pop diva or something, and this is it for me? Like, how would you feel about that? Like, and it's finding the joy and contentment in that. Like, I like that he worked in a gas station and the other guy, the gymnast was like, why am I taking advice from you? You're working at a gas station. But he was like, no, but this is what I love. Like, I want to work at a gas station. Like, he loved serving people, serving the gas, like.
Indeed.
So that, yeah.
So now this question may seem a little grim. So, but it's not. It's not. But it may seem like it.
You thought I was going to ask a tough question.
Can I just tell him with that? Can I just stay with that?
Absolutely not. So, 200 years from now, someone is speaking at your eulogy. What would you want them, if you can say in a sentence or two, what would you like to be said at your eulogy?
Gosh. That I was able to, and I kind of get this now, but I also try to not identify with it, like get cemented, because it could create like but that I had the capacity to be kind of like an alchemist and transform, like if somebody was having a bad day, from just being there and talking or smiling, like I was able to raise their frequency or transform the
mood, the energy.
Yeah. And I see that happen even now, with like, sometimes I don't know why, but that's a God-given gift, I guess. Like the grumpiest person, like I'm able to break them and like I don't know. It's just like, for me, it's like that I want to say like I'm very understanding with, I mean, don't get me wrong, some people try me and then I'm like, they see another
Let's
side.
get it.
Yeah.
Washington Heights comes out.
Yeah. But for the most part, like I can get to that humanly part of someone, even if they're like super grumpy, super materialistic, or like, I don't know, I can just relate to them. And I feel like I see them break, or I see them let their guard down with me, you know, like that. And that's what I would like to.
I think for lack of a better word, your optimism is your superpower. How do you keep it so high? How do you keep it?
I don't know. That's something, because people actually ask me like, why is it? And I don't know, but it's just something from people that I get from them. Like, and one time this girl, I saw her and I was like, oh my God, you're like my favorite person. She's like, I feel like you tell everybody that. Like, and I'm like, but I don't. But it's just like, people make me happy. Like I don't know. It's just something like and it's not that I consciously do it, but I like really get invested. Like, wow. But also there's times that I am like disattached from the person, but I still give them a chance. I don't know. But there's something about people that is like, I don't know why, like the struggler in me, I guess I sees the struggle in that person, and that's where I meet them. That's where I go, when we talk, no matter how much of a bitch they are or how, I don't know.
Well, I say, from my mind and heart, you are one of the strongest persons I've ever encountered. For you to go through what you went through, to not only beat it, to grow through it, and still have the energy to share wisdom with us, with the world, and still smile. I mean, I really feel like at this point, like, what am I complaining about? So just thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing all your story and your gems. And please come back and keep us posted. And unless if you don't have anything else, let everybody know where they can find you and how they can find you.
Yeah, no, I just want to say the same thing. Thank you. As you just shared so openly, it was a lot of reflective things for me as well, and a lot of things that I just picked up on, being more mindful about the words that I put out there, making sure I surround myself with people that have those positive words, like you mentioned with, your child's father, how he speaks still positive things and makes sure of that. It was just throughout the entire conversation, you shared many, many gems, and I just have to just show my gratitude for that.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me and listening, and being invested in hearing my story,
this is called raw success, and there's no bigger success than defeating death. And smiling at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, wow. But yeah, let people know how to find your music, the new single, everything.
So definitely, please connect with me. I would love to connect. I'm at Cynthia LaCruz, CYNTHIA, LaCruz, LACRUZ. That's on all social medias. That's how I can be found.
There we go. Raw success. Thank you. We appreciate you. The hour. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Peace. Wrap it up. Subscribe. Press like. All that good stuff.